Good morning, and welcome to Daily Dhamma, a letter to our children. Today is March 15th, and our reading is The Cobra Effect. During the Raj, British officials decided to do something about cobras in Delhi. They announced a bounty on the critters and were swamped with takers. To their horror, they found enterprising Indians had started raising them. A similar thing happened in Hanoi in 1902. The French began buying rat tails until they noticed a sharp uptick in tailless rats roaming the city. In 1958, Mao's Four Pests campaign killed so many sparrows that locusts had no natural enemies when they ravaged the crops in 1959 to 1961. The Great Chinese Famine killed 15 to 55 million people. None of the officials involved in any of these humanitarian efforts acted with any ill intent whatsoever, which must have been a great comfort to the survivors. Perhaps the 8 scariest words in the English language are, "We're from the government, we're here to help." This is just another example of how the difference between intentions and outcomes. It's necessary to try to align them. Unfortunately, people who have power often exercise it with no fear of consequences if they get it wrong. This is what we mean by hubris. It's the overweening pride of believing that we're right and everyone who disagrees with us is ignorant, wrong, or evil. And I can't say funny. The odd thing about it is that so often not only are they wrong, they are dead wrong. It takes an awful lot of effort to kill so many sparrows that there's nothing to eat locusts. That's kind of boggles the mind. Ditto for the cobras, ditto for the rats. Dhamma Bum's Swiss great-grandmother could have told those very well-intentioned, very highly educated government functionaries that you get less of what we tax and more of what we subsidize. Not that they would have listened. Great-grandma was not alone in her observations. She would have been joined by Confucius, by Lao Tzu, or whoever it was that wrote the Tao Te Ching. Most experts attribute it to a group of anonymous people. Whoever it was that put that stuff down, they had a common theme, which was make haste slowly. Don't be so sure that you've got the final answer. We're reminded of Thomas Sowell saying there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. You cannot solve for all time and in perpetuity a number of things, or maybe even anything. You can displace it, you can push it off into the distant future, you can come up with a different way of doing things and that have a different set of costs associated with it, and then you deal with those new associated costs. But the idea that you find perfection and utopia is absolute nonsense. It is sheer hubris to believe that we have got the final answer. That is reserved to God alone. So happy trails to you until we meet again.